Hello and welcome to 2024's edition of Fox Friday in Live for Speed. I'm Peter Butcher, you're watching Sim Broadcast, and joining me in the commentary box tonight for round number 2 of the 2024 season, it's Michael Málek. Michael, how are you doing this afternoon?
Good evening, everyone. I'm doing well. How about you, Pete?
Yeah, ready to go for another 12 rounds of Fox Friday that we'll be covering this year, and we'll be beginning with round number 2 here. It's Friday the 12th of January, and we are going to be kicking off with a qualifying session in just a few minutes' time. The cars are already out on track in the background, but let's take a look at where we are tonight. We're at Fern Bay Gold Reversed for a 60-lap race, not the usual 2 races that we have on the Friday for the broadcasted rounds, just a full one big shootout 60-lap race, lights to flag, with a mandatory pit stop in the middle as well, which we haven't shown for a while, Michael. It'll be nice to do one of these again.
Yeah, definitely. I'm interested in seeing some longer action than the sprint races we used to see in past months.
Yeah, for sure. And let's get a look at what's going to be what the drivers are going to be using. Obviously, the Formula XR 2-litre inline-4 mid-engine rear-wheel drive car, and weighs just under half a ton. We are going to be getting going for some qualifying action just now. We've got the first driver coming across the line. It's Rags, who's going to be setting the first time lap. But I do want to just show that we have the final standings from last year. This was the 2023 championship, and it was Roda Preza who ended up winning the team's championship with 2,137 points. And yeah, it was a fantastic showdown between the Roda Preza team and Fragmasters. But in the end, Fragmasters, just a lack of attendance actually in the end that stopped them from being able to compete for the win. in the Teams Championship. The Drivers' Championship came down to the wire as well, and it was Gabor who edged out TJ to take a victory in the overall Drivers' Championship standings for 2023. And we'll bring you the updated 2024 standings when we hit the break between qualifying and the race. But Michael, let's turn our attention to the track now and get a look at the first few cars coming across the line in the first qualifying session of the year.
So here we go. We are on the track. It's already under the green flag. Riggs has completed his first flying lap with 1 minute 15.88 hundredths of a second. This is the provisional pole position. Let's see how well the Roger Chen will do. He's just about to cross the start-finish line, and his line will be 1 minute 14.31, so 1.5 seconds faster than Riggs, and it's the provisional pole position at the time. As we now switch to Alpizan, who's just coming around the final turn a little bit wide, but let's see where he slots around the duo of drivers who just completed their lap, and he's in P3 with 1 minute 16.06. And now back to his teammate Finn UK, who's about to enter the final sector. He's now in the quick assist, going left, right, left. Over the split, it's 58.73 hundredths of a second, which sounds like a pretty decent time. Let's see how well he manages to complete the final turn. Again, a little bit wide, but shouldn't cost him too much time. Let's see where he slots up as he crosses the start finish line now, and he's even slower than Alpizan as he is currently last with 1 minute 16.76. Edinburgh is already finishing his lap and goes second quickest with 1 minute 15.46.
Oh, this is fun. In the final sector, that's going to be an aborted run. I don't know if you'll get a chance to do another lap after that one, Michael. I think that's going to be it. Got to be careful to not get in the way of any other cars finishing a lap.
Yeah, so it sounds like a last first challenge for Onifus, but I'm pretty sure that he will not get any rerun chance. However, since there are less than 40 people in the server right now, he should be good enough getting the grid slot into the start.
Yeah, here comes Rocket up to the line. Let's see what he can manage. Friends Unite Rocket. Can he get ahead of Onifus? Should be fairly straightforward. And yes, he can. Into P6. And then we've got Rex, who has a little bit more of the track to go. Just entering the second sector and through the sweeping section. And what's that plastered all over that livery? I can't quite tell from here. Looks like a bloke in some shorts. Out of the final corner comes Rex. Did very, very well last season. And let's see if he can continue that into 2024 with pole position provisionally at 13.76. Great lap there, Michael.
Yeah, a very strong performance from him. Let's see if he can keep up, at least in the front row, as everyone else will be setting up their fastest qualifying laps. As we are now watching my teammate Happy D from the Master Race car about to get into the final sector. Just one quick left-right chicane. Pretty safely goes through, and the final left-handed turn. Let's see if he doesn't go too wide. A pretty decent line. And let's see what time it will be for him.
Oh, it's P2.
And he goes second fastest, which is, I would say, good.
Next, we've got Adal from Master Race Car coming up to the final chicane as well. Onifus lost it on the exit here. Adal clips the second apex, almost has to catch the car from flipping over, but cautiously out of the final corner after a bit of a shake through the final chicane and an up to start finish. Where will he finish? P4 provisionally.
And another Master Race crew member, this time Texas from Poland, is about to finish his lap. He's about to get into that quick chicane, where on the exit Onifus did spin around. Let's see if Texas doesn't do so. He goes through safely. He's a little bit wide through the final turn again, but should be a somewhat solid top. Let's see as he crosses the start finish line now, and he's in 5th place provisionally with 15.23.
Pekka Koivunen next for World Class Lions. And let's see where Pekka Koivunen will slot into the list of 12 drivers it will be. Rex with a great time. There were a few reactions from some of the drivers in the server when Rex set that lap, so clearly a very good lap time that's going to be hard to beat in this session, so a great start from Rex. But where can Pekka Koivunen get to with his lap time? P5 with a 1:15.15. My, that's a name. What are we going for here, Michael?
I'm still trying to figure out how to pronounce that name. But before I do so, I'm sure he will complete the lap as he gets a pretty poor exit.
I don't really want to say the word Sklote out loud, but there we go, I've done it. And Sklote finishes in P10, immediately displaced by TJ, pushed down to P11. TJ finishes P4, very, very quickly behind Sklote. That's how fast he was going. Another pretty difficult to pronounce name, and a new one for us. Yeah. I don't feel like butchering that one today.
I wonder how to pronounce that. Maybe Atur-Sur, something like that.
Atur-Sur. Yeah, let's go with that. I like it.
Yeah, a very cheesy name.
A very what name? I didn't catch that, Michael, but anyway, we'll go for it. Atur-Sur coming up to the line. Google says it's Turkish, so that's about right. And it's P7. Next we've got Upsas coming across the line for Born to Race, and that is points for style, points for holding it. Oh my. How did he hold that?
I don't know, but definitely it's not the points for the speed, so I assume he will be P5 with 1:14.67. I'm sure it did cost him some turns over there.
We've got Gummix2 starting a lap. Plenty of new drivers. Excellent stuff. Here. I'm not sure who the GR team are either. So good to see. We're going to watch a full lap through Sector 1. Around this 180-degree wide hairpin into a tight left-hander. Easy to run out wide here and lose the car. Spits up a bit of grass, but that's absolutely fine as we head up to the first sector line. And this nice double right-hander leads into a tighter right-hander onto the bridge. And that looks pretty nice so far. This is a pretty smooth lap from Gummix2. So yeah, I like to see complete unknowns doing laps, Michael, and this is one of them.
Yeah, it creates a lot of uncertainty and looks like a very clean run from this guy. Let's see how fast it will actually be. It looks great, but hard to judge if the speed is there. Judging by the split time, It's not the fastest lap, and this didn't help his overall speed anyway. So it's safe to say that when he crosses the start-finish line, he will be more towards the rear of the grid. Let's see what the final time will be. Yeah, 1:17.93 on the beating Onifus, who did a complete 360.
Another new driver, Macucus. GR is Growler Racing. Chris has done some quick research in the background. Growler Racing is Gummix2's team. Macucus here, another unknown driver. I was going to say on that lap, Michael, that the final chicane is where you can really gain or lose time. And unfortunately, on that attempt, it was to lose time. Let's see how Macucus gets on. A little bit better. A bit laboured over that second apex, but breaking down into the final corner. Early on the power. not too wide on the exit. This should be a pretty steady lap. Let's see what we've got as we prepare to watch Boy. It's P13. Boy, ooh, yeah. Again, clouting that second apex for... Oh, sorry, no, that's Doctor. My mistake. Boy is coming out of the turn 6 onto the bridge. And let's see what the Brazilian driver can do. Doctor was just there beginning a lap. And we'll pick up with him in a moment. Gabor is the car behind Boy and is closing up fairly quickly, so we will have to switch to him a little bit early, I think. But let's see, Boy again a bit slow and loops the car. Gabor will have to be careful as he comes through the chicane himself. Absolutely on the limit. Would have been put off a little bit by Boy on the exit of the corner there, but looks to be pretty okay as Gabor comes over start finish and takes provisional pole by 0.03 of a second. He had to dig deep there, Michael, to get ahead of Rex. That's so close.
It was a typical Gabor performance, and he proves that he's one of the best here in LFS.
Yeah, we've got Doctor coming up next through the chicane. Very committed, nicely through, no drama. Boy slotted into P19 between Gummix 2 and Onifus. And here comes Doctor. Let's see where he can get to. Can he beat his teammate? Currently in P5. And it's close. It's 0.15 of a second between TJ and Doctor. And last but not least, it's Master, who has just left the pits and is on an out lap currently. Oh, sorry, he's on a timed lap. Oh no, he's on an out lap. He is on an out lap. So let's see him do a complete lap, maybe even from an onboard perspective. That'll be a surprise. And that's going to be a hard wall. There is an invisible wall behind those tyre stacks, I'm afraid. So this is going to be a difficult run with some front end damage.
Luckily, his suspension doesn't seem to be affected, so he should be somewhat good on the car's performance as he starts the lap and goes into the first turn, goes left, right, and then a little kink to the left, followed by a long right-hander, and then another slow left-hander under the bridge, and then a triple right-hander that will make almost 360. So first apex, second apex, over the first split, into the third apex, onto the old railway bridge. It will get us over the track crossing, like in Suzuka. So far, solid run. And now onto the fast zigzag section, where he goes left, right, left. Pretty smoothly, no mistake from him. The next critical point will be getting through that chicane where we already saw two guys going sideways and around, but he manages to stay pointing in the right direction, and let's see if he goes wide into the final turn. Now he does it pretty well, and I am seeing his second split was pretty decent, so he will be somewhere in the midfield, and it's P10.
Yeah, and it looks like Kid will be our final car unless somebody else joins. We do only have about 10 minutes left until we're supposed to be racing, so if anybody else does join late, then they may be allowed to go out for a lap. We do tend to have a cut-off at about 25 past to grid for the race. So yeah, let's see what Kid can manage. Kid is on a flying lap, so let's see if he can get himself up the order. 22 cars so far, which is a healthy grid size for Fern Bay Gold Reverse, Michael. It's going to be plenty of action down into turn 1, and especially if Kid can get in amongst the action. Where can he finish? It's P20, so just about getting into the top 20 there, and that will be a good position to start, potentially. There'll be some drama up at the front, I'm sure. Onifus is being allowed a second attempt. So let's see what Onifus can manage. Yeah, it is surprising, because normally the drivers aren't allowed a second attempt if they make a genuine mistake on their lap. Normally you're allowed a second attempt if... oh no, in fact the qualifying session has been ended. So Onifus will not be allowed to complete his lap. So that's that.
So it's just practice.
Yeah, the results are done, and we can go through them now. It's Gabor on the pole position with Rex starting alongside in P2. Very, very close times, 0.03 of a second separating P1 and P2 in qualifying. Then it's Happy D from Master Race Car alongside Roger Chen. The two Road Appraiser teammates will share a row, sharing row 3. Then it's Upsas and Adal on row 4. Pekka Koivunen and Master in row 5. That's the kind of the first 10 of the known drivers. And then we've got Aita Suer there in P11 with Texas, Number, Rags, Alpayson, Mikukas, Sklote, Finn UK, Rocket, and Kid in P20. As Onifus goes off again in the background, he's not having a good day. Let's have a look at the second page. We've got Gummix 2, Boy, and Onifus there down in P23. Can you believe it? The 300 second timer has appeared on our screens. That means we have 5 minutes to go for the start of the race. And that gives us time, Michael, to talk about the championship standings as they currently are after one round of Fox Friday 2024. Let's get a look at those then and see where all the drivers are at. Let's start with the team's championship standings. It's Good Drivers who lead the way with 55 points, which makes me assume that Rex had a good first round. With Master Race Car, Road Appraiser, Fragmaster, MRC, Furtive Racing, Sim Racing Polska, World Class Lions, and Fragmaster 2 there on the points. So no Sidus yet. Sidus yet to finish, yet to score any points. But so far it's Good Drivers who lead the way in the team's championship standings. And let's see how the drivers finished for round number 1. Bit of a spoiler, I guess, for us there. But it was Rex who won with 55 points ahead of TJ, Roger Chen, Zesty, Onifus, Rags, Happy D Master, Tallenberg, Alpayson, Sklote, Koivunen, Texas Kid, Shamal, and Finn UK. So, Michael, there we are. That's the 16 drivers who scored at least a point in round 1.
Yeah, it looks like a good start into the season. We have 23 drivers getting ready for the race tonight. So there are some new names that will be added into the table for the future. So I don't remember how many drivers there were over the course of last season, but it was well over 100 if I remember correctly.
Oh, well over 100, I think. We can probably get a check on that. I think it was 180 at least, judging by the table I have in front of me. But yeah, a lot of drivers competed in last year's and actually scored at least a point. So we will see. But I think it was 124 drivers who scored points. My apologies for that wrong statistics, but there we go. Let's head back to the track, Michael, and watch some of the drivers warm up before we get going. So yeah, as we head back to the track action, we're going to watch a few of the drivers warm up for another 2 or 3 minutes before we get going for the start of the race, which is going to be 60 laps of Fern Bay Gold reversed. An absolutely quality track. In fact, I think this was the last broadcast of Fox Friday we did in 2023, except it was in the other direction. We had 2 35-lap races. Tonight we're just going to get the one 60-lap race. The drivers will have to make a pit stop during that because the fuel will not last and potentially the tyres will not last. We will have to wait and see which strategies the drivers opt to use. Yeah, Michael, anything to add on that? What do you think they're going to do?
Well, I just want to add one thing that since we are running this track in a reverse direction, this adds some complexity to the strategy because I believe that in this particular direction it is more difficult to overtake, as the normal track has 2 heavy braking zones, while this one does not. So it will be very important to time the pit stops correctly.
Yeah, well, indeed. We've got a relatively long pit lane, so no overcrowding, like we've seen in some of the other races last year. So plenty of time no panic for the drivers today. There is the pit lane, lots and lots of space for them to do the business. And well, we've got 56 seconds to go before the start. And this is a cool shot of the bridges. The drivers going under and then back over the bridge a few seconds later. And yeah, we're looking forward to seeing some previews of the new Fern Bay, where hopefully some of these holes are covered in. But it's always been a fantastic track. It's got elevation change, aggressive curbs, and some fantastic corners to test all of the cars really in Live for Speed. As we have 15 seconds to go before the start of the race, Michael, get ready. It's going to be good, and take it away for the start.
And here we go onto the grid of this very particular Fragmaster Fox Friday race at Fern Gold Reversed. It's Gabor on the pole position, good drivers Rex in P2, followed by Happy D, Rjichan and TJ in 5th place. We are now waiting for the lights to go red as they go now, and they will turn green now. We go green at Fern, and looks like Gabor had a very good start. Rex had a lot of wheel spin, so he's under pressure from Happy D in 3rd place. But there's not much room for overtaking, so they start behind each other. So far everyone goes through cleanly. There's side by side. Who is that? Rjichan and I'm not sure who that was, but they are now single file again, while the two guys at the back are going side by side. So far I'm seeing no crash on the map, so everyone is behaving pretty well. Gabor is maintaining the lead and creating a small gap over the Rex. Then it's Happy D and Rjichan followed by TJ, so no change in order for the top 5 guys. And over the old railway bridge and into the fast twisty section where there's not much room for overtaking, so you just need to be close to the car behind, but not way too close because the dirty air can make you go onto the grass.
Yeah, Rocket's had an issue. He's losing places left, right and centre. He's managed to keep going, essentially, in P23 as we go over the curbs through that final chicane as Gabor completes 1 lap already ahead of good drivers Rex, who's under a little bit of pressure from Happy D. A little bit of a gap so far, but there we are. We'll see what's going on. Number is using a new wheel today, so that's potentially why he's not up the order as far as you'd expect. He's running a new Fanatec setup, so he will be trying to get up to speed with that as quickly as possible, and hopefully we'll see him back where he was and maybe even better with that new equipment. Yeah, Number's also using in-car view for the first time apparently. He always used to use follow cam, but now he's joined the realm of the sensible and is using the in-car view instead. As we watch Finn UK coming under a bit of pressure from I to Suer. Going for the move. That is not a place you normally see a move happening. Very generously given space by Finn UK there. And brave, it has to be said, Michael.
Yeah, it was very opportunistic, but Finn UK is a very experienced driver, and he knew what to do to avoid any serious contact, and it shows that we saw some good overtake. As I'm watching them, and there was a payback as he's now again ahead of a book, and then they are now going side by side again with Finn UK on the outside. Let's see who's braver on the brakes. It looks like there's a collision.
Yeah, that was
between Finn UK and
Makukas made contact. Finn UK got out of the. Boys had a big spin as well further down the order, and Rocket's also off in the grass and the wall.
And Kit is on the roof, I see.
Oh, that's unusual. So I'm not sure how that's happened, but there must have been some collateral damage. 3 cars involved in that one.
Pretty big pile up there, and the biggest victim is Kit, who has to retire from the race.
Yeah, he's out, and Gabor has opened up a 1.13 second lead over Good Drivers Rex, who's currently the championship leader, don't forget. So Gabor's got to do a lot to overtake in the standings. It's not going to be done today if Rex finishes in P2, but there's a long way to go. We've got 60 laps of racing here at Fern Bay Gold Reversed, and well, plenty of time for things to get spicy, as they often do. Here's Roger Chen being followed by TJ in an unusual livery. It's not the sort of livery he normally uses. Normally using one of the Road Appraiser liveries, but using a 711 livery here.
So I did some checks, and it looks like absolutely everyone is running the R2 tires combination, so there's absolutely no diversity in the strategy in terms of used tire compounds. So it will be all about refueling here.
Yeah, thanks for that, Michael. We're watching TJ now closing up quite quickly onto Roger Chen. Very, very difficult to get through before the final chicane. Is he going to go for it? No. Makes contact. Potentially was thinking about making an overtake, but you can't do it like that. Much better to go for it out of the final corner, but that's not the ideal line, is it? Roger Chen will have a good exit, and I don't see TJ. Well, actually, I may have spoken too soon. No, TJ is not going to be able to get through on this occasion. Thought he might have had a whiff, but no luck.
Yeah, looks like he will have to be patient because, as I said, this particular direction offers fewer overtaking opportunities as we switch to Number, who's under the pressure from SRP Master.
Number got past and was trying to defend again from Master. Master backed out of it. So let's see how well Number gets on with the completely new bit of hardware that he's using. That'll be really interesting to see. Currently P16. Not sure the lap times are there right now, but as he gets used to it, so we should see the lap times tumble. Gabor now with a 1.3 second lead over Rex, and well, we don't know what that means yet, because of course the drivers might be using different fuel loads. The drivers all have to make at least one stop today. The fuel tank is just too small to get you to the end.
And TJ is attacking Roger Chen somewhere in the background. Now we're in side by side onto the start finish line. There's a little cutback, and TJ will try to go through the inside of turn 1, but there's not much room. There's a possibility of contact, but
Absolutely it is.
Yeah, and there they go, and another pile up.
Absolutely killed Upsas. That's terrible.
Nothing Upsas could have done there. It's just
absolutely
wrong time, wrong place.
Yeah, wrong place, wrong time. Two drivers having an incident, pushing each other off the track and taking out Upsas, who was completely innocent in all of that. And well, it looks like the incident's still going on in the background. Ita Suer is not having a good time either. But Upsas there, that would have taken me by surprise. I would not have expected to have two cars come into the side of me there.
Yeah, and Upsas has a significant damage to his left rear wheel, so he might to stop a little bit earlier than he intends to. We will see.
Yeah, and where's TJ what's he gonna do? Has he got damage on his car as well? Let's see, he's right up behind Pekka Koivunen again. Only minor damage, so very lucky, as Adal has had some trouble. He's off at the final chicane. Big damage to the front, especially the front left, and almost certainly will be a trip to the pit lane. Or maybe not. Maybe he's got away with it. Oh no, that's pretty. The
damage is mostly cosmetic.
Okay.
But the threat from Q87 is not cosmetic, it's real, and Kirku is already ahead, cutting the track a little bit, but it should stand, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure Kirku 87 or Magrio actually did qualifying, so these two have started from the back. Well, there you go, you can see Adal in the background just struggling a little bit to get back into a rhythm, especially in the dirty air. Upsas is trying to make a move back on Al Payson. Al Payson currently in the top 10. Is Upsas going to be forcing the issue here? Yes, he is. Al gives him the space. That's the second move we've seen into that left-hander where you wouldn't normally see an overtake. So the drivers are getting braver into 2024. Great to see. Is Al going to try and get back on Upsas? I don't think so. Just saying, hello, I'm still here. But no real move on there as Al backs out of it. Potentially a little bit too much, because now I swear might have a go if he's got the slipstream.
Yeah, Alpecin took a extremely conservative line through the chicane, so he has a lot of time as RP Master is trying to get past Adel again.
TJ's having a move on Pekka Koivunen into the double right-hander and makes it stick. Pekka gives him the space just about. There wasn't much room, but the move is done. And Roger Chen is already up the back of Koivunen and in a good position as well, because we've got a long straight coming up. And Pekka's opened up the inside, Michael. Roger might be able to send it. This might be the third move of the day into this left-hander, and it is. Dal has retired from the race. Didn't even think to go into the pit lane. Just has ended his race there. Bit unusual. I think maybe he would have been able to go into the pits and get out with time to spare, but there we go. As Roger Chen continues on in P6 now. Pekka Koivunen loses 2 positions that lap. We see Gabor now with almost a 3-second lead as we start lap number 9 of 60 here for round 2 of the 2024 season of Fragmaster's Fox Friday End of the Speed. Thanks very much for joining us this evening. Hope to bring you at least 12 rounds of this year's Fox Friday Championship. That's the plan anyway. And yeah, this great series in Live for Speed will continue on for another year. And we're happy as ever to bring you the coverage of it.
In the meantime, the Ergo Mix 2 had timed out, so that's damaging to his races. I'm not sure if he will return, but his progress is definitely over. So
yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah, down to 19 cars in the race.
Yeah, definitely a shame. We've got Number now having a move on Kirku 87, so Number is warming up. Master for Sim Racing Polska also fancying a move on Number, but that's not going to happen at all. Oh, and in fact Master nearly lost it into Kirku. He lost a place for sure, but almost lost his car into Kirku, and that would have been an accident to end all accidents, I think. Very high speed corner.
Yeah, that was very close. And Master now and crashes into the wall.
Oops. Well, we zoomed in on that car and I'm filled with instant regret. So let's zoom out again. An interesting choice of livery, that. Texas is closing in on Pekka Koivunen. Texas driving in the Rocket Red Bull Racing, or Rocket Oracle, whatever they're being sponsored by this week, Red Bull Racing. Appears to have dropped back a little bit, so we'll have to find some other way around later on. And McGrio, who started from the back, is up to P13 currently. And Texas has got a good exit, but is it good enough to get past Koivunen by the end of the straight?
It's a bit too far, but he can go for it. He decides not to, so he has to wait for a few more turns.
Upsas has retired from the race, joins the spectators, and I don't blame him really. 2 cars came out of nowhere into the side of him at turn 2 and gave him a little bit of damage as Finn UK and Rocket both go up on 2 wheels, and Finn UK opportunistically sends a dive into the final hairpin and says, thanks very much, I'll take P16 away from you, and continues on his merry way on to lap 11.
It looks like Rocket had some crash because his rear wing looks very damaged, although it's mostly cosmetic.
You say it's mostly cosmetic. Well, yeah, maybe you are right. I thought the rear axle looked a bit bent, but it looks okay. As Gabor will cross start finish once again to start lap 12 now. With a 4-second lead. So, yeah, Rex has got an advantage in the championship, but Gabor certainly has the pace today in the race. But plenty of time for things to change. Chris has had a look and does think that Rocket's car is a little bit skew-whiff, thanks to that rear end damage, so he will be having trouble driving it around and may opt to repair the damage in the pit stop. All the drivers will need to make a mandatory pit stop. Fox Friday races, traditionally, the ones that aren't broadcast, normally are just over an hour long and just over a tank of fuel long, so that you have to make a pit stop. And tonight is one of those races, for a change. As Aita here going for a move, or rather defending from McGrio. McGrio in the black car there, forced out to the wall, hits the wall, and Aita just about hanging on to P11. McGrio trying to go around the outside, surely not. That would be the first that we've seen. Oh, and there we go.
Oh no.
Oh, that. I don't have any words for that, Michael. That was unusual.
That was a bit too much opportunistic and it didn't really pay off, and we see Mugrilo has left the race and left the server as well, so that's down to 17 cars now.
That was brave around the outside, kept his foot in it and speared across the front of this car, Aita, and, well, never mind. As Rex then is 4.5 seconds back. You've got to hope, for his sake, that he's running full fuel and Gabor isn't. I don't really see any other way, as Happy D's had an incident on just after the first sector line, and has hit the wall, I think, with the front left, so that's going to be a handful. Caught the grass, sorry. And almost certainly hit something after that. And Roger Chen will then see that car slowing down in front of him and think there might be an opportunity here. There were 9 seconds between Roger and Happy D, and there are now significantly fewer than that. And Roger is pushing. Slightly further back, we've got a group of 3 cars currently being led by Pekka Koivunen, Texas in the middle, and Onifus in the back. Now, Onifus had a terrible qualifying session, had a pretty clumsy start to practice between the qualifying and the race, but somehow finds himself the highest placed Fragmaster car in P9 after all of that, Michael, so something has turned around.
Yeah, looks like a decent drive for him, as he's watching Texas going wide over the grass, losing some time but not positions. But he's now vulnerable to Onifus, who might try to go onto the inside of next turn. He thinks better not to, and instead sets himself perfectly for a draft into the next turn. He decides to go around the outside, which didn't work a few minutes ago for Mugrio. Let's see if he has more luck. Nearly leaves the track, but keeps it on the grey stuff. Still side by side, but now has to slot behind Texas and think about another opportunity at the end of this lap, because through this chicane he can't make the move.
TJ spun on the exit of the chicane, and that was close.
There he
These
is.
cars shot through.
So that promotes everyone up one position, so now Onifus is now in P8.
Unusual mistake that from TJ, and he's lost a lot of critical positions. That's all the way down to P9, so a big error. I wonder if he picked up any damage as a result. Doesn't look like it, but we'll certainly have some tyre temperature issues now, and a lot more cars to get through, as now Onifus is sizing up the back of Texas again. TJ has damage from an earlier incident, but probably not from that one, unless he hit the curb too hard. And yeah, Onifus too close to the back of Texas, too much dirty air, and he'll have to try and find somewhere else to get round. But yeah, Koivunen doing a good job in the lead of this little Brute, 20 seconds back from the lead in P6. But plenty of work to do.
And Fern UK was the first driver who hit the pit lane under, I would say, normal conditions.
There he is in P16, doing some tyre changing.
And we are watching
Texas.
now. Yeah.
Go for it, Michael.
Yeah, I was trying to say the same thing you tried to say, that Texas is under the pressure from Onifus, but stays ahead for the time being, as we are now about 25% of the race distance over. We are on lap 16 out of 60. Remember, there's a mandatory pit stop for everyone, as this is not the format we used to see in past broadcasts, where 2 short races were held. We are now back to normal Fox Friday format, with over 1 hour race and mandatory pit stop, so let's watch out for possible strategies.
Yeah, well, Finn UK hit it early, and it doesn't look like he put any fuel in, which is really unusual. Yeah. So potentially going to be in the pits again at some point. Oh, Texas has gone very wide. Onifus may have a chance here. Texas will have dirt on his tyres and thus a bad exit, and that's what's happened. Texas defends quite hard and neutralises any attack from Onifus. Onifus has a wing ahead, but that's not going to be enough. We'll have to back out. And Texas holds on just about.
Yeah, and this was a complete copy-paste situation from the lap before. Yeah, I could compare these 2 attempts to overtake and couldn't tell a difference between them. Let's see what the next lap brings, but looks like Texas is at the moment very uncomfortable ahead of Onifus.
Yeah, and in the background there you do have TJ catching once again. Finn UK has rejoined a lap down behind Al Payson, and Pekka Koivunen has managed to open a comfort gap to Texas, who is going to be a little bit panicked as soon as TJ catches up to the back of Onifus.
Yeah, for this, Texas didn't go through the grass, and it shows that he's now no longer under the pressure from Onifus, who instead is being closely chased by TJ, so it looks like he will have to go from offensive to defensive driving.
Numbers had an incident somewhere on the track, lost a bit of time, but it's still going. Now we're going to have a bit of a queue behind Pekka Koivunen. 4-car fight. This is all for position. Pekka Koivunen, Texas Onifus, TJ. We've got Master and Kirku, who are swapping positions on the timing tower, and are currently not swapping positions on the cameras, so we will leave them be. And watch Gabor start yet another lap, lap 19, almost a third of the way through race number 2 of the 2024 season. And Rex is some 6.5 seconds behind nearly. And it's currently Road Appraiser's Doctor who is in P3, the final podium position. Happy D, they're in P4 with some damage at the front end, which may or may not get repaired at the stop, with Roger Chen closing in, the number 23, in P5. Then we've got this 4-car train of Pekka Koivunen for World Class Lines, Master Race Car Texas from Poland, Onifus from Fragmaster, didn't qualify well but currently in P8, and TJ, who had an incident earlier on and is recovering and will be wondering how on earth he's going to get past all these cars that are currently ahead of him.
Onifus in
Onifus goes
perfect
for the
position. And there's collision and 2 cars are going sideways.
Texas is gone from the race. Onifus wide. And well, make of that what you think, folks, because that was messy. From some experienced drivers there. Pretty messy.
Yeah, luckily to Onifus, I don't see any significant damage on his side, so he's pretty much good to continue. His tires are looking good as well in terms of temperatures. And he's still in the 8th place, so he didn't lose much.
Except some pride, potentially. But there we are.
Yeah, and my teammate.
Yeah. Sorry, Michael.
That's down to 15 cars in this race, as we are in lap 20 out of 60, so 3rd way in. I wonder how many cars will finish this race at this rate.
Well, hopefully 15. So yeah, after Onifus, it's Alpacin, currently in P9, gaining positions by the fault of others ahead of him at the moment. Itis Suer, damage on the front left, but continues in P10, with Number using new hardware there in P11. Mr. Fanatek, just getting up to speed with his new gear, and we'll see him at the front, I'm sure, in no time at all once again, once he gets the hang of all of that new fancy shiny equipment. And then we've got Master from Sim Racing Polska in P12 with Kirko87 now down in P13 as Boy enters the pit lane for his mandatory stop. And damage and fuel, damage repair and fuel going into that car, but no tyres being changed, with Finn UK has already stopped as well. Will potentially come out in a fight alongside Boy. Actually no, Boy is off and out of the pit lane already. Boy exits the pit lane ahead. TJ's caught up to Pekka, Michael.
Yeah, he's got ever so closer as the two drivers in between them took themselves out, but it will take another lap or two before he's able to try anything, as he's still a bit too far and unable to make any impression into the next turn. This is where they nearly killed each other. Texas had to retire from the race. Here there's no real opportunity to make the pass, so I wonder if the next lap will be where TJ will try to make an attempt to pass. He's getting ever so close. There's a yellow flag. Somebody has spun in front. It was Roger Chen.
Yeah,
Roger
Chen.
Reversing.
Very. Roger Chen losing a load of places there as these two come over start finish, and it's TJ into P6, Pekka into P5, and Roger Chen left thinking about what on earth just happened there.
Roger's tires look pretty hot, but that's manageable, so I don't think that he will have to go into the pit lane too soon.
Yeah, but Gabor firmly in control of this race. Rex almost 8 seconds adrift now, and with halfway approaching, we'll start to see some of the cars coming into the pit lane.
Yeah, Pekka is not under the pressure from K. Let's see if he tries to go around.
Pekka.
And while he was optimistic, then Pekka just decided that I want to survive, you can go, and that's how the overtake was done.
Yeah, TJ apologised in the chat for that, because he lifted out of it and then Pekka lifted more, so they both slowed each other down, and TJ was somewhat given the place by Pekka there. It's such an uncomfortable place to watch cars go side by side. You're flat out going into a pretty high downforce corner that does tighten on you, and you will lose all aerodynamic grip if you're near another car through there. So it is really dodgy, very risky.
Yeah, the survival instinct did kick in, and as a consequence they both are still in the race in healthy car condition, so I think it was worth lifting.
Yeah, so TJ up to P5 and already has a healthy gap over Pekka Koivunen, actually quite a big gap indeed. And Roger Chen needs to do something quite special if he wants to catch up to the top 6 or top 5 again in this race. And definitely needs to keep going at some pace if he doesn't want to be caught by Onifus, who seems to have turned his favours around in this one. 2 seconds the gap. We'll keep an eye on that. Alpayson still holding on to P9 in a bit of a bubble. He's got 13 seconds behind to Aita Suer and about 9 seconds or 8 seconds ahead to his teammate. And then Number still in this race, 3.8 seconds, 3.1 seconds now. So catching on P10 and wanting to finish with the top 10 under his belt. And it's Master Race Car, Sim Racing Polska Master in P12. And Kirku 87 P13. Boy already pitted in P14, and Finn UK has caught up with him at the back of the field, P15. It's always nice to have a fight for last place.
Yeah, this is the closest battle on the track so far, so we can stick around them for a little while. As Finn UK seems to have a better pace at this point. Finn's left front tire seems to be overheating a bit, so that compromises his abilities to catch the car ahead more quickly. But in the long term, he should be able to catch Boy, as he's much more experienced driver here. The gap in between them has now stabilized around 0.8 of a second. Let's see what the future progression of this fight will be, as Finn UK is trying to cool down the tires and Boy made a little mistake, so now they are right next to each other. But Finn UK makes a little slide and nearly rolls over the high curb, but keeps it together, and now the difference between them is about half a second. Finn's front left is still overheating, so that's definitely something he has to keep an eye on, otherwise he will be losing way more time. PD is in the pit lane from 5th place, I believe. Let's see how long his stop will be. Yeah, looks like he's repairing the car and refueling, which is a sensible decision. It's a very long stop, actually. He's still stationary, losing time and places as we speak. Still stationary down to P9 at this point. Still stationary, that seems like a lot of damage to his car, and he's finally moving as he drops to P11. And we switch to Number, chasing the newcomer Aituk Sur in P9. Both of them have not pitted, I believe. And looks like this is simply the closest battle on the track, so let's stick with them. We are now driving with Number, who's now getting very close. He has a new driving hardware and using a new point of view. He's now using the driver view instead of the follow view, so it's more realistic, and it looks like it's giving him some hard time from time to time, but he's getting used to it. And let's see how well he does in his effort to overtake the car ahead. He's waiting patiently, he's almost trying to go for the move, but it's sensible to stay away in this chicane and wait for another opportunity, which should arise in any second.
Oh!
But he nearly spins and collects himself, but somewhat stays pointing in the right direction and losing time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's such
so
a
more
struggle
effort.
using new hardware. It really is. Getting when you know how to drive in a sim, and you get something completely new hardware in front of you. It just takes such a long time to get used to it.
Meanwhile, Boy must have made mistake because he's now way behind Finucane in the last race. So,
Yeah, he was
must...
stationary just on the pit
Yeah.
exit, which is unusual. But going again now.
Nefos is now getting close to Reggie Chen in P6. Will take a few more laps to catch him, but so far looks good for him. All of these drivers have yet pit, and they have about 32 laps to do so as we are approaching the halfway mark of this race, which is 60 laps long. We are on lap 28, my apologies, as Gabor leads and has a pretty decent gap over the good drivers Rex in P2. It's 10.4 seconds gap in between them. I think there's nothing Rex or anyone else can do tonight to get at least close to the close proximity of Gabor, who's in his own league tonight.
Yeah, he absolutely is. Absolutely brilliant pace so far, but like we're just getting to the halfway point, so we'll see if Gabor decides, in fact, to pit. Will be slightly unusual for him.
Usually he pits at the very last opportunity, so let's see how it goes for him. As now number is closing to Happy D, who has left the pit lane a lap ago.
Just joining us, thank you for watching Fragmaster's Fox Friday, the second round of 2024 here in Live for Speed on simbroadcasts.tv. If you're not following us on Twitch, just click that follow button so you get notified when we go live.
This is overtaking.
As we will look
collision
at Happy D.
Yeah, he was trying to pass Arthur, but there was a contact. Another contact, and looks like it's very difficult to find a way around Ayrtuk Sur. I still struggle to pronounce that name.
I'll remind you of what you said during qualifying. It was Aita Suer, which I think is pretty close. As number is letting our leader through, so I wonder why he was lifting off, but Gabor has already come around to put a lap on him, and let's see what happens between Aita and Happy D here. They're fighting at it, but they have the race leader to worry about as well. And this is the worst part of the track for the race leader to be trying to get through. Aita lets him through. That's going to give Number an opportunity to try and get through, and he does around the outside. That's opportunistic driving. Aita maybe a little bit too generous with the unlapping there. Sorry, with the lapping traffic. And now Happy D in a much more sensible position lets Gabor through.
Yeah, it was very bad timing for the, I believe, Turkish newcomer. So that's some experience under his belt now. So he will be timing his letting by passes more efficiently. As he now goes into the pit lane, I believe it was his car. Yeah, he's in the pit lane. Let's see how long his stop will be.
Yeah. Rejoins in P12.
He only did a refuel, so that was a very quick stop for 8 seconds.
Yeah, must have faith in the tyres that they're going to go to the end. Quite a lot of the drivers have already changed tyres. I think the tyres should last. It should be fine if you look after them. Only going to be an hour and 5, hour and 10 minute race. Hops, I think.
Maybe R15, but everyone is using R2 tires, which should last this distance in a pretty good condition. So I believe it's sensible to do it on one set of tires.
Well, we're on lap 31 and the race has been going for about an hour and 2 or 3 minutes. So, should be around about an hour and 5-ish. I think the tyres can go that distance. It's hard to know unless you do a full 60-minute or 60-lap run. Number still in P10, and Roger Chen has gone into the pit lane for damage and fuel.
So does Alpecin.
Yeah, no tyre change for Roger. Tyres and fuel for Al going on there, and he gets out of the pit lane ahead of Roger Chen. Roger's got a long drive down pit lane now, and he too emerges behind Happy D and also Number and Master, down to P11 for Roger. We wait to see when our race leader Gabor will come into the pit lane. I don't think it's going to be for a while. There is no need. There's a 10.1. Yeah, go.
It will be very late, and he is just now negotiated most of the traffic, so I think he will want to take advantage of the free air ahead of him. Master seems to be closing to Number, as they are now passing Kurku 87, who was a lap down.
Yeah, Suer has a lot of rear left suspension damage, a lot of shock damage to his car, which may cause him some grief later on. We're only halfway through the race, and it's possible that he's taking a few too many liberties with the curbs. Let's watch him through the final chicane and just see how he takes it. Yeah, pretty hard.
Yeah. Lap after lap, he keeps adding a little of damage, and it keeps showing us. I'm sure that this particular suspension will not last until the end of the race.
Yeah, so drivers need to keep an eye on their suspension. They may need to do some repairs in the pit stop if the shocks take too much, too many repeat impacts. Then they will go snap before the 60 laps are up. And Suer is certainly one of the drivers who is in that critical zone. As we watch TJ now in P4. 8 seconds, the gap to Rex ahead. And Happy D is catching Alpecin into the final corner. This is the fight for P7 overall. And let's get an update of all the drivers who have made stops. Everyone up until Onifus has yet to stop. Number and Master have yet to stop, and Finn UK has done 2 pit stops. Once for fuel and once for tyres. As now we see
and Rajichan went into the gravel trap, and he's trying to rejoin the track in the final turn.
Just about managing it now. Good spot, Michael.
Yeah, lost so much time and positions that he will be disappointed. No damage on his car though, so only the tires took some bite.
PD moves out of the slipstream at the corner where we've seen plenty of incidents and plenty of decent overtakes today, in probably equal measure, and decides to back out of it, find another place to make the overtake. Maybe into the chicane, if you're brave. Not close enough So this is going to be an attempt on the home straight, unless it happens somewhere else. As TJ, has he gone into the pit lane? He's switched places with Onifus. Oh, he's lagging.
He's timing out.
He's timing out of the server. As you can see, there is no car where we focus the cameras. Happy D nowhere near the back of our Payson, and let's see, will TJ be able to stay in the server?
Doesn't seem to work.
Doesn't look like it. That is going to the doom, and he's gone.
And he's gone.
Yeah. Roger Chen's caught back up to Aita. And Pekka Koivunen is lapped traffic. Sorry, is going to be lapping these guys. These guys are a lap down, or will be a lap down, as Roger Chen gets through Aita there. Nice and cleanly, as Aita goes straight over the curbs again. That suspension is going to be in trouble pretty soon if he keeps going over the curbs with such aggression. As Pekka Koivunen finds his way through nice and easy. And who is that behind Aita? It's Onifus, who is going to be getting a lap over him as well. There we go. So let's keep an eye on the red Ferrari later on in the race to see if that suspension will make it or not. As our race leader has overtaken everybody except those cars up to P5 now. So Gabor is on an absolute mission here. He'll lap as many cars as he can in the time limit. Absolutely ridiculous stuff.
Happy is now in the close proximity of Alpezon, and considering that he has a lower pressure in his tires, he should be able to make the overtake very soon.
Doctor makes a pit stop, fuel only, no tyre change for him, and he returns on his way in P3. So he goes in and out of the pit lane, resumes in P3. That's how big the gap was for him. Very impressive. I think that's Boy who's behind him, so not even one of the cars he's in a battle with. Yeah, it's Boy, and then Roger Chen, and Pekka Koivunen, the next car up the road, is here. He's got 3 seconds the gap. You're watching the fantastic Fox Friday, round 2 of 2024. And it's currently Gabor leading. He has 0 points in the championship so far after 1 round. Although remember that this is a year-long championship, so plenty of time for him to get a foothold and try and defend his championship. He is the 2023 Fox Friday champion around a few weeks ago. And his score sheet is currently 0. It's Good Drivers Rex, who is in P2, who leads the way.
Happy D is on the move.
Happy D looking to make a move there on Al Payson, but backed out of it. Probably just about the right move there. Michael?
Yeah, we did see some very bad examples of how to try to overtake there, but also some good examples. So it's down to a particular driver talent to avoid any collision, but Happy decided to stay safe and try overtake somewhere else. And I think that's a very good decision he can do at this point. As they will soon be overtaken by a lap car ahead, so that will add some complexity into their fight. As we saw before, the Aitung Sir had a really bad timing of letting the other car by and was overtaken by number in the process. As Happy is now trying to go around outside of Alpezon. He seems to have more grip, but there's not much room to make the pass happen. As Rex is now very close to them and they will have to let him by. But first let Happy D make the pass on Alpezon. He's now in a good spot and should be able to complete the pass. He hits the inside wall but stays on the track, and looks like the overtake is done and he's promoted to P6. And now they both should be able to give way to good drivers Rex in P2.
Yeah, Al gets well out of the way early. PD able to stay ahead for a little bit longer, gives the position at the final corner. Good stuff.
Yeah, now PD takes the draft from Rex, so that was a very sensible decision to let him by in the final turn. And as we speak, Onifus is now really close to Pekka Keivanen, as they are in the final turn of lap 39. Will he be close enough? Looks like not, so he will have to wait for another few turns. As we are watching Happy D now after successful move on Alpizon, being promoted into 6th place overall. And let's see if he's able to catch the duo of Onifus and Pekka Keivanen ahead of him. There's a large distance in between them. Looks like a number has now made a pass on Alpizon, so that's another position lost for Al. And he's now under pressure from a sim racing Polska Master. Tries to go around the outside, but decides not to complete the overtake. So now it's NP8 and Master NP9 so far. There we go. Looks like Alpizon has lost his driving rhythm. Now Onifus is on the move around Pekka Keivanen. Let's see if his move sticks now. Yeah, looks like Pekka backs out and let Onifus go by. Another sensible decision to not to cause any difficult crash. Master is now really close to the tail of car ahead, which is Alpizon, as we said. But there's Alpizon goes over the grass. Let's see if he's in a big trouble. And that's another place for Master and another place down for Alpizon. He's not having a good day.
Another driver who's in big trouble is Aita Guer. Has engine damage as well as some pretty nasty looking rear left suspension damage. And that shock is going to go before the end of the race. We've got 20 laps to go, and with his current driving style, it's not going to get any better. So we'll keep an eye.
I give him 2 laps before his suspension gives up.
I'll give him the final chicane. Here we go. See what happens.
Fingers crossed.
Oh.
You win.
Well, no, you win.
No,
he's okay. Yeah, just about. Maybe a lap more. Maybe you're right. There's no chance that car's making it to the end without a spin. I hope he's aware.
I wonder if, as you say, I wonder if he's aware of this issue. It looks like he isn't, so it will be a pretty interesting interesting to him.
I'm reluctant to leave the cameras on him for too long, but do shout if anything else happens, because
I'll keep an eye on him because it can be an exciting moment. It
can be fireworks.
As Gabor now in the pit lane on lap 43, sorry. He did on the refuel, so it was a very quick stop, and he's back in the lead, I believe.
Yep, with 14 seconds the gap. Onifus is getting close to Doctor for P3, so that's actually a huge set of gains for Onifus. As Onifus goes onto the grass. Both having issues.
And Aituk is approaching the chicane.
Yeah, Onifus is yet to stop, so this is somewhat artificial. It's just Rex, Onifus and Koivunen in our top 6 who have yet to pit. As Aita Swear makes it through the final chicane one more time. and has about 2 pixels worth of left rear shock left. So that car destined to make a sticky end at some point, unless he's careful. Oh, he's starting to have a lot of trouble controlling the car in the first sector. As we continue to watch Onifus. This is a fight for position, but they are on different strategies, as you can tell by the timing tower. Onifus playing with fire here, trying to pressure Doctor through there. Needs to get a move on if he wants to gain any sort of advantage. Doctor doesn't have to give him the place, of course. Absolutely no obligation to get out of the way. Onto the home straight we go, and it doesn't look like Onifus is going to have the slipstream he needs on this lap either.
Yeah, it will be another time lost for him. Let me just say the Atunk is closing into the infamous chicane.
I was waiting for it. There we go. Oh, well, that's Boy as well in the mess. That wasn't as a result of the suspension going. That was just a dodgy line through the chicane. His suspension lives on.
But his rear tires are dead now.
Yeah, not a good afternoon.
But decides to stay on the track, so we will definitely see some more action in the chicane from him.
Oh, and more contact.
Yeah, that was close.
Yeah, he's having problems with his tyres and with every single other part of his car. The rear right is hot, and the rear left shock is dead, pretty much. The race leader's coming through, so he will have to be very careful as not to cause any problems for Gabor. Let's watch Gabor. 16 laps to go, including this one for the race leader and reigning 2023 Fox Friday champion in the speed, as Aita has seen Gabor approaching and gives plenty of room to him. Nicely done. As Rex is now only 2 seconds behind Gabor, but has yet to stop. So Rex still needs to make a pit stop and still has Gabor ahead of him. That's how good Gabor's pace has been. As who is that in the final corner? Is that Boy again? It is. As Aita goes off as well, but still has somehow got his rear left suspension intact. Chris, are there any pixels left on that rear shock now?
There are none.
There are none. That is as broken as it can be without being broken. So any sort of touch of a curb and that shock absorber is going to go. Half a pixel is not a thing, Chris. I'm sorry. Chris said half a pixel. It's not possible to see that. To be fair, there has to be something, so maybe there is half a pixel. We will keep an eye on it. Onifus close to the back of Doctor. This is again for position, but not really, because Onifus yet to pit. Doctor has already made his stop, but doesn't want to be held up. Needs to gain every advantage that he can. As Akiyukas has rejoined. I'm not sure he'll be allowed to rejoin the race, but has rejoined the server. Although there are only 15 laps to go. As up to the final chicane comes Aita. Let's see, Michael. Is it going to be death? It is not. But letting the cars behind get through.
Yeah, that's another lap alive.
How many pixels now, Chris? Quarter? I'm kidding, of course. And on to another lap for Aita. Rex is catching up to Gabor, but it is too little too late. Rex needs to make a pit stop and will come out 14 or so seconds further back behind Gabor after that, almost certainly. We've got Doctor in P3.
Number almost spun.
Okay.
And it's now under attack from Master, who goes on to the inside and makes the move stick.
Yeah, Number yet to stop as well. So too is Master. So those two are in a legitimate race with each other. Alpacin behind those two, quite close, and has stopped. So Alpacin will jump both Master and Number in the pit stop, I think, unless these two just pit for fuel. As our best friend Aita Suer is coming up to the chicane again. Is it this time? Is it like 5 laps after we said it was going to go?
It has to be.
It has to be.
No.
It moved
like ahead as some Fragmaster car has spun. It was.
Number.
Oh yeah, even worse day for Number, who has spun out of the final chicane.
Yeah, there's a lot of rear end damage on that car now. Almost certainly shorter track length. Number said he was pushed. Was he pushed? Can't confirm it, but he said he was pushed. Chris is going to check the replay. I'm going to leave the camera here for a bit. So unless anything else happens, I'm just intrigued as to how the suspension on this car has put up with all of this action. Here he comes up the hill. Surely to goodness, this is the lap.
It must be. It is already like 10 laps longer surviving. Yeah.
Well, let's get the best angle we have for this. You're looking at the.
There he goes.
It's gone. He's going to have a bit of a hard time slowing down. Well, actually not. No, a hard time getting back on the power, as you can hear from the rear differential. Now, will he go to the pit lane? Just does not care. Has no rear left shock,
yeah,
but
just now noticed that
just now notices. The rear left shock has gone, and that car is coming to a grinding halt and retires. Well, that's a shame. Another retirement from the race.
Was it entertainment though?
Yeah. Well, that was a fun game. Back to the race. Number was not pushed, so he was lying, but it could have been a different place that he was pushed.
Speaking of ordinary racing, now PKK1 is very close to Road to Praise Adductor, so let's see how this particular fight will progress. Rojichin, who is a lap down, is right behind them, but I don't think he's allowed to make a pass unless he's way much faster, which I assume he isn't. So he just has to stay behind. Everyone going through the chicane safely. It looks like I is still not close enough to take advantage of the slipstream of Doctor. So there will be another few turns behind him spent.
Yes.
We have 10 laps to go, so not much room for making anything.
Good to see the cars this close together at the end of the race, providing some entertainment. Although it's unfortunately a little bit superficial, it's still nice to see cars lapping together. Roger Chen is lapped down in P10. McElroy and a Doctor are on different strategies. So none of these cars are really in a race with one another, other than on the track. As Rex has caught up to the back of Gabor, but it's too little too late. Rex is going to be in the pit lane within the next, I'd say, lap or two, probably, lap or 2 or 3. Clearly running less fuel, or better tyres at this stage of the race than Gabor to have closed that gap down so much. And now the intrigue turns to whether drivers have calculated the tyre strategy well enough. Now, looking at my other screen here, it does look like all the drivers have got enough rubber to get to the end, so that shouldn't be a worry for anybody. But now we're watching Rex versus Gabor. This is, again, a little bit superficial. Gabor's already done a stop, Rex has not, but it feels so satisfying to get past and lead the race for a little bit. So let's see if Rex can manage it before he goes into the pits for his stop, Michael.
Yeah, he's very close to Gabor, so let's see if he doesn't take the opportunity and goes into the pit lane instead. He should be refueling only, I believe. Yeah,
Just
very quick stop. 2 seconds.
Super quick, and on his way. Where's he going to rejoin? Where is Doctor? There goes Doctor. Oh no. No, he's got out ahead of Doctor, so...
Doctor is still in the previous lap, so he has plenty of margin for error.
Here he is, so Rex does manage to get out well ahead of P3. But when will Pekka Koivunen come into the pits? That's the next intriguing thing that we can talk about. Will it be now as well? No, Pekka thinks he can manage another lap on his current setup. As he goes on to lap 52 of 60. One of the drivers who's going the furthest in this race. Master is a lap down, so can afford at least another lap probably. Pekka Koivunen is the first through the wall.
It looks like Roger Chen is really being held up by Pekka at this point. And Boy has crashed.
Gone off, yeah, he's gone off at the final corner. Happy D managed to get past him. Happy D has got some really hot tyres. The rear left is struggling somewhat. So too is Finn UK. Boy is still stationary. No, he's moving now. So yeah, some of the drivers have managed their tyres quite well. Others not so well. As Pekka Koivunen comes out the final corner, will he choose to pit now? There's Boy on the top of your screen. Yes, Pekka Koivunen comes in the pits. And this will get interesting. Where is he going to rejoin? Probably behind Boniface and ahead of Happy D. Happy D is just too far back. So Boniface goes through. There he is. But Happy D is just on the other side of the track. Probably about the polar opposite that you could be on the lap. So Pekka Koivunen will resume in P5 and he'll have to do something spectacularly wrong to not finish there.
And Boy got a drive-through penalty for sneaking the pit lane in the meantime, so he's essentially in the last place, so he can go any worse. But he has to serve the penalty if he wants to be classified in this race.
Yeah, our race leader is on lap 54 and Boy is on lap 49. It's not been a good race for Boy. Unusual, I don't seem to recall him having this many issues in other races that we've seen him in.
He might be just tired.
It is the end of a long week after our New Year holiday. As Roger Chen unlaps himself. On Doctor. So good pace in that car at the end. It's a shame what could have been for Roger Chen in this race. As Gabor begins lap 55, 6 laps to go in round number 2. And it's been a bit refreshing actually, Michael, to have the full lights to flag race format for Fox Friday. It's a bit more relaxing, isn't it? It's a little bit more slow going, easing us into the year, I think is the best way to put it.
Yeah, it's definitely different compared to the sprint race format we are used to see. And thanks to that, we are also now in the territory where the tires start to get cold, so we can see some driver errors purely from the lack of grip. As Master is now, or was, in the pit lane and completed his mandatory pit stop, and is now back in P8 ahead of Roger Chen, who's however way too far behind. And Boy has another excursion through the grass around the circuit. So I'm wondering.
Numbers off. And he's stuck. Will he be able to get going? I think he's able to get going again. It's just very slow progress.
He's slowly approaching the track, but it will take another, let's say, 20 seconds at minimum. But he should get there.
Yeah, he's having a bit of trouble trying to get that car out of the gravel. And he's going to lose a whole heap of positions. He's probably going to end up losing out to his teammate, who's all the way down at the other end of the circuit. But such is the slow progress of trying to get out. Ooh, that's unfortunate. It's a difficult place to get beached, especially with cold tyres. He's moving a little bit faster now, but number 2 starting to wiggle his wheel to try and help the car edge its way out.
And Finucane is approaching, so that would be
he's free.
Position switch.
He's free, but he's going to have to be careful how he rejoins. Because Finucane, there he goes.
And
sweeps
there he is.
Number just being patient before he rejoins. Unfortunate that, but getting used to new hardware is difficult, and I sympathise. It took me a hell of a long time to get used to my kit when I got it. I have since sold it, but I'm sure I will go through that pain again when I reinvest in some simulator hardware at some point in future. Everyone goes through it at least once.
And Number is now in the pit lane as he did just refuel, but if I was him, I would also swap tires because they are cold after being stationary in the gravel for 2 minutes. So he will have absolutely no grip, and I'm sure he will struggle out of the pit lane.
This is a training run for Number, pure and simple, as Boy makes his 4th pit stop of the race, and Gabor is halfway through lap 57. 3.5 laps to go in round number 2. Roughly 5 minutes of driving. And well, he looks completely in control since the very beginning.
Finucane has crashed.
And
looks like he made a mistake through the final penultimate chicane and went into the barrier, but looks like his car is in somewhat reliable state, so he can continue without repairing, as he has only 3 or 4 laps to complete. He's now in P10 and is pretty much safe from the next car behind him, which should be Kurko 87, about 1 sector down. So as long as he does not bin it again, he should be fine.
Yeah, we're coming to the close here. It's Rex who has the fastest lap, which is a little bit surprising, but fair play to him. How's the pace at the end of the race? Didn't have it when it counted. Unfortunately, there is a 15-second gap between him and Gabor, which is unlikely to go back down. Gabor has the fastest first sector, and Rex has the fastest second and third sectors. Rex with the overall lap time advantage at the moment, but the on-track deficit is just too high.
And Rex's tires are stone cold as well, so I wonder for how long he can hold this. He is going very safely, so even less heat put into the tires, so we'll struggle even more, but it's only 2 laps to go for him, so not much of a pressure.
Yeah, Rex is losing a lot of time. What's going on? 2 seconds a lap slower than Gabor, so maybe just driving very conservatively to the end, or maybe low on fuel.
Maybe more like a lack of grip from the tires.
Yeah,
they are completely cold.
Well, it wasn't to be this time. Rex got his victory in round 1, but the victory is looking like it's going to switch hands to Gabor, our reigning champion, at the end of this one. Just 1.5 laps to go for the champ. Doesn't need to push, although you know that thought never crosses his mind. He'll push for every single lap that he can to try and get as much of an advantage and get the race done as quickly as possible so he can go to bed, probably. Final lap then for Sidus Gabor as he... Roger Chen has got a front left puncture on the final lap. Didn't expect anybody to suffer from a puncture this race, Michael, but it's happened. Roger Chen has got a front left puncture. Unfortunately, he has to do a lap and a half on that. Because Gabor is behind him.
Let's not forget this. At this point of the race, everyone is pretty much one lock of the wheel away from puncture, so maybe it was just bad luck for Roger Chen, but he seems to be skilled enough to get the car into the finish like that.
Yeah, well, just a few more corners to go for Gabor. It's been a lights to flag masterclass for him so far, but I hate to jinx it. There is one more terrifying left-right to go, and it's just here. But he's nailed it.
And out of the final corner, Gabor, who we haven't seen much tonight because he was alone on his own at the front, is crossing the start-finish line and wins today's Fragmaster Fox Friday race at Fern by goal reversed. And we are now waiting for the second, which should be good driver's Rex, who is just out of the final turn and about to cross the start-finish line now. And goes second with the fastest lap, 1 minute 13.85, 21 seconds behind Gabor. And the third place shall go to Doctor. Yeah, it's a Road Preza Doctor, who's closely followed by Onifus, but the difference between them is too large for Onifus to do anything, so it will be podium completed by Doctor, who's zigzagging across the track as he finishes this race. And it's Onifus in P4, and looks like Pekka Koivunen will complete the top 5 in this race as he's crossing the start-finish line now, and that's it for him. And then everyone else is at least 1 lap down, so it's P6 for Happy D. Alpecin comes home in 7th place, then Master from Sim Racing Polska in P8, Roger Chen, even with a flat tire, in P9, then Finn UK, P11 Kurko 87, number in P12, and the final finisher, after so much struggle in the final part of the race, Boy from Brazil, 6 laps down to Gabor.
Yeah, thanks very much, Michael. You can see that there were a lot of DNFs in that one, but an absolute masterclass from Gabor, 21 seconds ahead in the end of Rex, who will get a good haul of points from this round, but it was victory in the end for Sidus Gabor, his first of the 2024 season. Doctor for Road Preza finishes in P3, a staggering 50 seconds behind our race winner, with Onifus there very, very close for P3 in the end, less than a second separating Doctor and Onifus at the line. Koivunen, Happy D, Alpecin, Master, Roger Chen from UK can be happy with a top 10 in round number 2. Kirku in P11, their number on his test drive today in P12, with Boy, Aita Suer, having some suspension difficulties throughout the race, ultimately ending in suspension failure and a retirement, first retirement there in P14 as classified. Then we've got TJ from Road Preza, DNFing after 26, or after a few laps. What was that? That would have been 34 laps timed out of the race. Then we've got Texas also DNFing with Rocket, Magrio, Upsas and Gummix 2 joining that list. Also timed out of the race early on. And Adal, Sklot, Majukas, Kid, Furtive Racing Rags and Roland, who I don't believe was actually allowed to start. I think he was banned on the grid and was not able to start the race. So there we are, 25 finishes legitimately, 25 classified on this table, but only a handful of drivers will actually score points from today's race, as we see Gabora's pulled up on the back straight, today's winner. There he is. Michael, anything to say about that race? I think it was pretty great. I enjoyed it a lot. A lot of great moves, a lot of incidents, potentially some of them avoidable, but nevertheless entertaining till the end.
Yeah, it was a very entertaining race. Not very much at the front, where Gabor has his own league, but the midfield and all the incidents and chaos we saw through the race. It was a very good action, and I really enjoyed making commentary on it.
Well, thank you for joining. We will let you know what the calendar for the broadcasts is for Fox Friday this year as soon as we can get confirmation of that. So as soon as we know, we will let you know. But we thoroughly enjoyed being back here for round 2 of the 2024 season. We hope you enjoyed the coverage, and we hope you enjoyed it if you're watching it back later. We always appreciate your support. So if you want to follow us on Twitch, please do so. If you want to subscribe to us on YouTube, please do so. We really appreciate that. All the good stuff. So yeah, that is pretty much all we have time for tonight's broadcast. We thank you all very much for watching. I've been Peter Butcher. I've been joined tonight by Michael Málek in the commentary box, and Chris McElroy in the background, keeping an eye on all the action for us. Thanks to our drivers, thanks to Fragmaster for having us along, and thanks to all of you for watching. We'll be back for more action this Sunday with the first round of the New Dimension Racing GT4 Sprint Cup Series. More information about that can be found on our website at simbroadcasts.tv. We hope you can join us for that action, a brand new series from New Dimension Racing here on Live for Speed. And we can't wait for that. From all of us here to all of you, have a great weekend. We'll see you at the next one. Good night.
Good night.